Well, that takes us to our week 3 preview. So, starting first with some Big Ten action, we have Penn State, Illinois. So, Penn State's looking for their first road win after beating up on West Virginia, Delaware at home. So, obviously, if they get this win, they'll be their third straight and start to 3-0 for the season. Drew Aller, the new quarterback for Penn State, is completing 78.2% of his passes for 529 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. You have Condre Lambert and Harrison Wallace, the third, have 295 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Mark McClain has 5 receptions at the receiver end as well. Overall, Penn State, obviously, we came into it knowing that their ground game would be solid, and it is, averaging 230 yards a contest. So a lot of good things happening for Penn State. On the other side, Illinois is looking to get a big home victory to get above 500. Hopefully getting their first win over a ranked team since November 2021 when that was against Minnesota. Their new quarterback, Luke Altmaier, is completing 68.5% of his passes for 408 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he does have 3 interceptions, so he's a little inconsistent there. The ground game is averaging 151 yards per contest, and so they're pretty solid there. Again, they've been kind of hit or miss throughout the multiple games this season. Kansas obviously beat them up a lot in the last game. I think in this game, it wouldn't be surprising to me if Penn State came out and just blew out Illinois in this game. But it also wouldn't be surprising if Illinois kind of reverted back to their form from last year, slows this game down, depends on the running game, and makes it a contest. And so, with that being said, starting with you, Jordan, what do you think's happening here? Are you going with Penn State or Illinois?
I'm going with Penn State. I think Penn State, like you already said, has the better team, looks a lot better. Illinois does not look like the Illinois we saw last year. Yeah, their running game's consistent, but it's not what we saw last year. If you're looking at their stats, they live and die by their quarterback. Altmaier has 408 passing yards, but he also has 139 rushing yards, and that's the most on the team.
Yeah.
So, and he has the most carries with 22. So they live and die by Altmaier being the guy. And so I think Penn State's defense is good enough, and their defensive coaches are good enough to more than likely put a spy on him and watch him the whole game. And I think that's really going to be why Penn State wins this game. They're going to be able to stop the running game of Illinois. They can't really pass. And Penn State has the better defense, better running backs, and a better quarterback. So I have Penn State probably winning by 21.
All right, Jess, do you agree with that blowout for Penn State?
Yeah, I don't really have much to add. I feel like Jordan really nailed it there. Penn State is just top to bottom the better team. There isn't really anything that Illinois has shown so far this season that makes me think they can really hang in there. And it's not like Penn State has shown any particular weaknesses either. But, Penn State, I feel like, is going to be a team we're going to learn a lot more about if they're truly legit as the season goes on. But I don't think Illinois is going to be the team that really gives them a fight.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I think coming in, this should be everything says it should be a pretty decisive blowout. And so that's why I'm going to go with it as well. But it wouldn't surprise me if this is closer for a while, just because Illinois will probably throw some different defensive schemes at Aller that he hasn't seen before, being a young quarterback, and it may cause him to have a mistake, maybe throw his first interception, make this a little closer at the beginning, but they kind of pull away in the second half. So I agree. I think 14, 21 points, somewhere in that area is what they'll win by. All right. This is one I got a lot of grief online. LSU at Mississippi State. So LSU coming in this matchup obviously is 1-1. They kind of rebounded from their loss to Florida State by beating up on poor Grambling State 72-10. Logan Diggs, the Notre Dame transfer at running back, played his first game against Grambling State and had 15 carries for 15 yards, so at 7.7 yards a carry. Jaden Daniels had 269 yards passing and 5 touchdowns. So, yeah, they kind of got the offense rolling. But it's against Grambling State. Will they be that consistent against Mississippi State? We'll have to see. Meanwhile, Mississippi State is coming to the game with a 2-0 record. That they obviously squeaked out a victory against Arizona State 31-24 last weekend. The running back, Jacavius Marks, carried the ball 24 times for 123 yards. Will Rogers had 162 yards, 3 touchdowns. So, again, pretty good offensive output there. but their secondary is struggling. I think having a 70% requisition rate there. So yeah, I think it could be it could be a little harder than most people are thinking. When I looked online, the reason I got grief is because when I looked at who was the most likely upset, I did pick Mississippi State or LSU just because I feel like it's the most even matchup. That doesn't mean LSU won't blow them out or win by a couple touchdowns. I just feel like it's at Mississippi State. Mississippi State has the offense that can really challenge the corners of LSU, so I think it has the most likely chance to be a close game. So, what do you say, Jess?
No, I agree with you. I thought it was rather entertaining, the kind of blowback that you got. We're not super popular down south, it seems. But yeah, of all of particularly of the big top 25 teams, I was looking at, maybe South Carolina gets it done versus Georgia, especially if Georgia's comes out as slow as they did in their last game. But I don't see that happening. So of those, kind of bigger matchups, Mississippi State is the team that I think has the best chance at getting that upset. Other than that, I mean, I wound up talking with some guys about Virginia Tech and Rutgers. Rutgers is favored, which, is not a very common thing, but Mississippi State, they have the pieces there to get it done. I don't think they will. I do think LSU has the talent. They got the quarterback. You guys know more about that coaching than I do. But I think LSU will win. I think Mississippi State can give them a bit of a scare maybe early on. It's like a 14-10, 14-14 kind of game. But I think LSU has the talent to pull away in the end and win by 10-14.
All right, Jordan, what do you say?
No, I'm with Jess. I think the biggest thing, I think this game's going to be a low scoring than we think. I think Mississippi State's going to run the ball a lot, slow the pace of this game down. LSU's not early on. LSU is not going to be comfortable. I think the game's going to be super slow. Mississippi State defense on rushing. They only allow average 87 yards a game, but LSU averages 149 yards rushing. So I think Mississippi State can utilize their run game and be able to keep this game close, especially early on, the first half at least. I think LSU is going to pull away just because they have that more star power and a coach that can win. I mean, Mississippi State's on their, it's the first year head coach there. It's still kind of weird, not 100% at, culture wise. So I'm going to pick LSU just to win this game. Probably, I think it's only going to be by 10, but I think Mississippi State, if they had a little bit more star power, it would be a lot closer, and I think they could win. But I think just with all the stars and everything LSU has, I think that's going to really pull away for them.
All right. Obviously, here are my thoughts. I think this could be a close game. I think, if Mississippi can't come out or challenge those corners that get success, they could do good here. But I also think LSU will be able to throw the ball on Mississippi State as well. With that, I am just going to, since it's my super dog of the week, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to pick Mississippi State to win by 3, 45-42, some crazy game that in Mississippi State that fans rush the field for and give Brian Kelly another great start to his season. So we'll see if that happens.